Got it.
I'm sorry, Tony. Just want to make sure everyone can hear you.
I've prepared some notes for myself to follow tonight's to ensure that I stick to just the facts. As I've thought about our conversation at the finance committee meeting, I just have a few more thoughts I'd like to share with you. It's clear that we disagree on my fees being considerably higher than other inspection agencies. I'd like to point out a few facts about my fees. Inspection fees for the village have remained consistent for the past 6 years until this recent change. Some fees went up, some fees went down with the new fee schedule. My fee schedule is inclusive, meaning the permit price includes all inspections. Our agency provides contractors with specific times for inspections. We do not give windows of times and never have fined a contractor for not being ready for an inspection upon arrival. We understand that things happen and we try to be as flexible as possible within the limits. I'm looking at my fee schedule as compared to others. It is true that my fee schedule for a $300,000 new home build is about $150 to $230 higher as compared to others. When it comes to addition, while my fees may be higher, we have not issued a permit for addition in the past 3 years. On a $110,000 alteration or remodel, my fees are actually lower than the other inspection agencies. I'd also like to point out a few facts about our services we provide. As I stated before, I pick up and drop off permits at the Somerset Village office, so residents do not need to travel to my office. With my inspection agency, either myself or Keith conduct the vast majority of the inspections. In some cases, as in vacation coverage or family emergencies, Brian Worth may provide services. I do not subcontract to any other inspectors, and the three of us are aligned on code requirements. My agency conducts on-site inspections and does not accept contractor affidavits. Our office hours is staffed 7:30 to 3:30 Monday through Friday. And residents and contractors can call and talk with someone during these business hours. They can also email us directly and expect a response generally on the same day or within maximum of 24 hours. In addition, my cell phone is given out directly to residents and contractors. I frequently take phone calls on my cell up to 8 p.m. and even take calls on weekends. I take the time to help residents and contractors understand building requirements because I don't want them to face frustrations or delays. I understand the village board is responsible for looking out for the residents of Somerset. I feel your responsible is not only to ensure that the residents are paying the appropriate fees associated with building permits, but they are receiving the best service, including on-site inspectors, easy access to inspectors to answer questions to avoid delays. And finally, no additional fees listed in fine print. During the finance committee meeting, I asked the committee members if they had any members had talked with anyone within the village that I do business with, including contractors or residents, about my services. It was stated that the finance committee members are not aware of any complaints about my services we provided. But later in the meeting, it was stated that the committee member had personally received complaints about my fees. And that is why the board is looking at other inspection agencies. While the committee member did not directly state if the resident or contractors had reached out, and no names or written statements from the individuals provided, I took it upon myself to reach out to the contractors directly. I spoke to 3 of the contractors I work with in the village, and none of them have had a conversation with any board member regarding my fees. I've worked with the village of Somerset for a number of years now. I've been truthful and forthright in how I conduct business. I do what is right for the residents and the contractors, and I uphold the Wisconsin State Building Codes. For the past 5 months, members of this board has put undue stress on me, my employees, and my family. This has gone on far too long at this point. The fee schedule was approved on January 16th, and the contract was signed on January 9th. I am not sure why we are where we are. Thank you.
Anybody else for public comment? Marcus?
Mark Spurter, 328 Aspen Drive. First, I want to say thank you to the board for bringing up the drainage issue on Aspen Drive on the agenda tonight. I'd also like to thank Bob. Yes, it's been a year and a half of frustration, but your communication with us has been great. I appreciate that. We are asking that the problem get fixed up to your guys' standards. If it was your backyard, how would you feel to make sure that it's corrected the right way? We also ask that a hard deadline be put to the developer, that it be done by the next meeting. If not done by the next meeting, we ask the village to take over this project to fix this remedy as soon as possible. Thank you.
Can we be brought up to date on the building inspector before it comes, so we can't talk, or
That's
I guess
not really the time or place, but if you have public comment. If you wanna say something about it, you have 2 minutes. Couple minutes.
I can't say, I don't know what's going on. I just got a call today from a couple contractors in town to come down and talk for the building inspector that the board was trying to fire him, and let me ask this, was there complaints that came in from
It's
contractors?
not open for discussion. You can give your comment, but it's not a back and forth. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Bobby Ray. I'm here to address, the underage unsupervised drinking on the Apple River. I think this has to be addressed. Definitely not. Know how we're gonna go about it, but how can we have drinking right down Main Street, Somerset, right down middle of town? You gotta have an ID to get in Rendezvous and drink, but you can come and drink on our river. Look what happens. This happens. We gotta address this. It has to be supervised. And it can't be underage. That has to stop.
Thank you, sir.
Address?
Rodney, what's your address for the? No,
220 Main.
thank you, sir. Anybody else for public comment? Public comment is closed. So, approval of agenda. Anybody want to pull anything out of the consent agenda? If so, now's your chance. Take your time.
I only had a question, I guess, on one of the bills. I don't know if you want to pull the whole bills out for that discussion or question on it. But, looking at it, I don't know if they can answer that bill, then we could probably move on with consent, but I'm asking a question, do we pull the bills out for that discussion then?
Yeah, I would just pull the bills out. If you have one specific one.
Just one specific, and I don't know if anybody can answer here or not.
Pull that one out and pull the rest.
Okay,
What is the building inspector's fee schedule item?
Pardon?
What are we voting on in the consent agenda with is that part of the consent agenda? The building inspector fee schedule?
there was a motion that was made at finance. You got that motion?
And just for clarification, it's on 5CI, it's 7,150. Correct.
Correct. And I'd like that one pulled off the consent agenda as well.
Which one?
C1.
C1?
Yep.
Anything else? What was the other one before that? Somebody said
E1, that's the one.
E1.
That
You want to pull that one up?
was what Kayla said.
And then is it the full bills, Donnie, that you wanna pull off?
Yes.
Discussion?
Where is that?
Okay.
All right, somebody want to make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda minus C1, E, CI, EI, and B.
So move.
Second.
First and a second, further discussion, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Donnie, you wanna start with the bills?
Two questions, actually. First one was, we got $11,000. Was that a deposit back to them as an expense for, on,
What page and what item?
going to page 1 of the. Looks like it's, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then they got 1, so it'd be the second round of 1, which is general checking. There was a $15,000 expense for William Senior William, and then there was also $11,000 expense for, it looks like, Gateway Builders street damage deposits. It was that for the streets over at, and River Hills that we approved before then? Or-
Yeah, so they do a $500 deposit and we do an inspection after they're done building and occupy the home. And if there's no damage, we return the check. So,
And,
and,
okay,
and there's a lot.
okay,
Yeah.
all right. So it was all over, all the
Yep.
developments? Okay.
Yep.
All right. And then do you know anything about, or the $15,000 check for, what is Williams Senior Williams?
That was the easement we had.
Oh, okay, all right.
Anything else in Donnie?
Nope.
So now you need a motion to approve that item now that the discussion's done.
Make a motion to approve the bills as presented.
From second.
First and second, further discussion, all in favor, opposed, same sign. CI, discussion possible approval, purchase of 1 fixed and 1 portable automated license plate reader from Flock Safety in the amount not to exceed $7,150.
Yeah, so I watched the meeting on this and I did have a chance to speak with the chief a little bit. My concerns with this is a private company that's gonna be collecting our data. They could sell that data, other companies could have access to it. My worry is if that data is secure, I don't really feel comfortable with private companies mass surveilling our populace. This will not prevent crime. This will help us catch crime, after it's already happened. And I worry that this will end up with our boys doing a lot more paperwork as a result of being actually out there and doing, preventative stuff and proactive policing. So I'm against this, just, you know, there's no way that this would be put forward with private companies harvesting our data, where I would be okay with this, and I would just want the rest of us all on this board to give this a long, hard look. Because this is an invasion of privacy and civil liberties. I do know that they do have them other places, and those places didn't even have anything to say about those. I don't have any comment on that, but I would just like this board to really give this a long, hard thought before we put this money into this, when we could give them money for stuff that could help with preventative measures, say radios, or even there's other technology that could read license plates where the cop could, our boys could have it right there and they could read the license plates and they could run license plate and they could have the information right there and available to them, whether they're a felon or whatever there is, instead of this mass surveillance. Another thing I found when I was researching this is they do misidentify people, 1 out of 10 times. So the way it works is it does an AI algorithm where it reads your license plate as well as builds a profile based on the back of the car, so bumper stickers, or so let's say you had maybe a Trump sticker or a Biden sticker, it would be able to profile you by the back of your car. So I know some of those are extreme cases, but I think, I just think that we really need to have a conversation about this, and like I said, when I talked to the chief, I didn't really have an issue with giving them money to help them police. but I just think there might be better measures that we could do. Spend this.
There's a,
Representative, this is a representative from, the company, so I'd be happy, it looks like he,
he put his hand up there.
yeah,
Yeah, let's,
Let me-
is it Jonathan Paz?
let me just,
Just give us a second there, John, Mr. Paz.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
we can, yeah.
So,
So happy to join you here. Just would love the opportunity to share with you a quick presentation and maybe share more information, clear some misconceptions about our company. I just need the ability to host or
Sure.
to share screen, excuse me.
Just 1 second.
I didn't get that.
Oh, thank you.
Yep.
Great. So again, my name is Jonathan Boss. I am a government affairs manager here at Flock Safety. We are a company that was founded in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia. Our mission is to eliminate crime and shape a safer future together. We were actually founded when our founder back in 2017 had, unfortunately, he was a victim, and in his neighborhood, there were victims of like petty property crimes. There was a lot of burglaries going on in the neighborhood, and he wanted to see, maybe those doorbell cameras could help equip law enforcement with the necessary evidence, so then they can, apprehend some people who are breaking the law. And the police department basically told him flat out, we can't solve this unless we have the license plate number. So he did some research and found out that license plate reading technology has been around for over 30 years, and it's very cost prohibitive. There's a lot of barriers to being able to access this very expensive technology. So what he started out was with a prototype, literally used his iPhone to help start capturing the license plate, and eventually led to the most what we consider the most innovative but also ethical form of this technology, which is what we're talking about today. It's an LPR camera. So why Flock Safety? We equip your law enforcement, your police department with a very objective way to capture and distribute objective evidence. We are a force multiplier. We take pictures of the back of cars, not the front of cars, and it's literally just the back of cars. As you know, law enforcement nowadays has to do a lot more with less resources. So we are a tool, a very effective tool, so then they're able to investigate properly and also proactively be able to address whenever there's hot vehicles coming into your area. So it's important, right, that we make sure that our partners in law enforcement actually have a higher clearance rate. It builds trust in the community when they know that whenever there is crime in their community, that there is some kind of resolution, some justice found. So how does this technology work? I really want to emphasize this part of my presentation. Flock Safety provides your police department with indiscriminate evidence from fixed locations. We really do two things. We take a picture of the back of the car, so we provide the license plate, right? That's number one. And number two, it's the vehicle fingerprint of the car. So it literally has a search. It's
John,
just,
I'm sorry. I have one quick question while you're on here. So our police have access to this? Do the FBI have access to this? Do other law enforcement agencies have access to this Flock camera as well? Or is it just our police?
No, just this is your police department, and if you choose to, you can partner with other jurisdictions in your area so that they can have access to this. But you have to, your police department has to have an agreement to be part of let's say a network. If you wanted to just focus in your area, that's fine, and we're happy to accommodate that.
You've never had a request from a federal agent or any, federal body for any data?
We don't provide the data. We don't own the data. You own the data. So I just want to clarify that from the beginning. We own the cameras and we maintain them for you. It's a subscription service. So
We don't have a server, we don't have a server here, so you'd have to manage the server, right?
right, but we don't own the data. We don't sell the data. We don't have third-party vendors with the data. That's why we say this is like the best in class, because our business model is not around selling your data. Our business model is literally helping you solve crime.
And you guys are a privately held company,
Yes.
right? So your CEO, you're ran by your main CEO, so if your CEO was to change that, that could potentially change?
So we have we have no intentions of doing that. I think that's why we are trusted in over 5,000 communities across the country. You know, for all 49 states and counting. And we also partner with folks in the private sector. But that's why we are the best in class. We don't not only have the most cost-effective technology, right? We're talking about a $3,000 per year like service for that camera. But it's also because we have the highest standards. So our business model is around helping you solve crime.
Jonathan, in the contract that you provide, is there a privacy declaration within that contract maintaining our privacy to the customer?
Yes. So I'm happy to clarify that. It goes a little bit further into the presentation, but I'm happy to jump in there if you'd like. I just wanted to really quickly just speak to something in this slide. This is an infrastructure-free technology, so you're not, you know, hooking it up somewhere. You're not having to change your infrastructure to do this. We're able to provide you real-time alerts from, the National Crime Information Center. So in case there is someone with a felony, in case there is someone who has a stolen vehicle, your police department can get real-time alerts whenever those are triggered. So right now we're talking, I think, about just one camera in your jurisdiction. So if that one camera has, let's say, a stolen vehicle pass through it, your police department can get flagged, so can get notified. That's why we talk about preventing crime, because, you know, if there is that situation, you will be notified before anything further happens.
John, how many stolen cars we have last year?
I don't have the exact number, not very many.
Less than 10?
Yeah, less than 10.
Okay.
So I also wanted to clarify a little bit about what this is and what this is not. We focus on license plate recognition. So this is not facial recognition. It's not tied to personal identifiable information. It's not used for traffic enforcement, at least from what I know in your policy. And you really need a valid law enforcement reason to have a search. So if someone is actually going to go in the system, they actually need to put a case number to it. And that gets audited. And you, as part of your policy, can audit this frequently. And we're happy to help you with that, with a policy in place. But I just really wanted to emphasize this point. The data is deleted after 30 days. So not only do you own the data, we make sure it's deleted after 30 days. We adhere to state law, and it's really about gathering objective evidence and facts about vehicles and not people. Excuse me. So I did want to speak a little bit about privacy, protecting privacy and mitigating risk.
So one more thing, what if someone's driving the vehicle? What if someone is driving someone else's vehicle?
Okay, could you expand? I'm just a little bit,
So
I
what
don't understand the
if there's a
question.
person, so you're saying it doesn't identify the person, it identifies the vehicle. So what if someone does a crime and they're in someone else's vehicle? So you're gonna.
I mean, we would have a snapshot of that vehicle, right? The license plate number and the vehicle.
Yeah.
Right. So we're tracking, we're trying to make sure we have objective evidence using license plates, but also like the back of vehicles. We don't do facial recognition. It's not predictive policing. And yeah, as I mentioned, you need a search recent. But I wanted to make sure that folks, at least in this call, because technology is evolving, I wanted to make sure that folks really understand we're trying to take the human bias out of crime solving by detecting objective data and detecting events that are objectively illegal. So we are not connected to some registration data or some third-party database. All the data is stored securely in an AWS cloud, and it's end-to-end encrypted. So our AWS cloud is just as secure as the data that's secured by the FBI. So that's part of why we talk about the best in class, is because we really hold ourselves to the highest standards, because it's really your data that we're guaranteeing. And any questions on this particular slide?
No, sir.
And I did want to just emphasize, we have a 30-day retention period because it gives law enforcement enough time in case some crime happens. It gives them enough time to be able to go back in time, but it's not endless, right? It's not like data stored 6 months or a year. It's 30 days. So then we are trying to have that short retention period, ensuring that also, you know, we are respecting of people's privacy. So and just to really reemphasize that point, all data that's not associated with a crime is automatically deleted and unrecoverable. And on top of that, we have transparency portals, so you can put up your own policy online, so the citizens in your community can actually see the real return on investment. They can see what's detected, what's not detected, acceptable use policy. And if you look to the right of this image, at least in Vallejo, California, you know, they do partner with other folks, other jurisdictions, because it does help the system be stronger. Because, you know, crime isn't necessarily fixed in one location. Sometimes crime goes past your neighborhood, it goes through your neighborhood, right? Some of these events, these incidents can be multi-jurisdictional. So this is something that we can provide for you, so then your community is aware of the policies behind it, and they can know exactly how, what, and why.
How does the system determine a stolen vehicle by the plate? Is the plate that is associated with the vehicle inputted into the system? Does that come off of a database that is within our jurisdiction or outside the jurisdiction? You know, is it a state database, or where do they get that information from?
So there's the NCIC list. We basically, like, there's a national list of vehicles, you know, of stolen vehicles, of vehicles associated to certain felonies, right, like hit and runs, or yeah. So that is where it's a national list that they can have direct alerts from, and you can customize it.
So it's a one-way input, not both ways?
Could you
What I'm saying is Minnesota, state of Minnesota determines there's a stolen vehicle in Winona, Minnesota, and it shows up at one of our concerts over here. It's a one-way, or does it notify Winona that you have a stolen vehicle in Somerset, Wisconsin?
So depending on the type of crime, some of these vehicles associated with certain crimes make a national list, and that's available across the country. It's the National Criminal Information Center of Stolen Vehicles, Felony Warrant Registry. There's also the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children, right? We all know Amber Alerts. So let's say you had an Amber Alert situation. This camera can pick up on a vehicle that's associated with that Amber Alert, or even Silver Alert. So if there's someone who's physically disadvantaged, right, we can help track that down.
And that will relate to the police department, not to police department of Somerset, no other agency, correct?
Correct, right. And you can make that connection. But I just wanted to emphasize that point, that this is really the preventative measure, is that you will, like, let's say someone who's passing by your neighborhood who somehow has a felony warrant, you can be made aware of that, right? That someone who has a felony warrant has just passed this flock camera. Your police department can do something about it. I'm happy to expand more, or I also just wanted to share a couple case studies that I think may illustrate this a little bit better. So
does your technology ever misidentify subjects?
No, so we have we have over a 90% accuracy rate. But part of what as a policy
So you do
is that,
misidentify.
I
You
mean,
say over
there's
90%, that would be that, yeah, you do misidentify at sometimes.
I just wanted to clarify that a little bit more. So let's say you have you're investigating for a certain vehicle. Let's say someone steals some property from some neighborhood, right? So if there's a vehicle associated with that, let's say you get a hit on the system, the person conducting that investigation would have to double check and cross-reference what they're seeing in the system. So the one or two examples that's ever happened, it's because of the human error, not because the system picked it up wrong.
Yeah.
So we actually we require for the law enforcement to take that extra step and verify the data that they got from the system. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So a human has to verify, this is what I'm looking for. This is the license plate. This is the vehicle that I am searching for. And I'm happy to help with your license plate policy, your LPR policy. But I did want to just share. I completely understand if there's some degree of concern. I just wanted to make sure you understand this. We're very popular in Wisconsin. There's a lot of police departments, sheriff's offices, universities that partner with us, that work with us, that are part of our system. And I wanted to, I think a story sometimes paints a better picture, right? There's an armed robbery in Barron. There was an armed robbery in Barron. Officers responded to reports of an armed robbery. An elderly victim stated that two suspects entered his residence, assaulted him, and tied him up, and stole over $10,000 of cash and guns and jewelry, and cash, guns, and jewelry. Investigators interviewed neighbors who stated that a tan SUV had been parked in front of the victim's house. So they just knew tan SUV, and they ran the query through our LPR system, and they had a matching description that identified a suspect near the crime scene, and eventually they were able to issue a warrant for their arrest. Again, very limited information. You don't have the license plate number right, but it was able to be enough so then they were able to track down and issue a warrant. So there was a stolen U-Haul truck in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Rice Lake Police received an alert on a U-Haul. So again, out of the town, Barron County Sheriff and Rice Lake PD located the unoccupied U-Haul in a parking lot. Two men got into the U-Haul, upon which the officers approached. The U-Haul backed up and began to flee. A pursuit continued, and they were able to make the corresponding arrests, including illegal narcotics, including meth. So, again, this is an example of people using the system locally, but the crime didn't start in their community, right? But they had at least a notification to be able to address it. And there's more examples across Wisconsin of an armed robbery in West Ellis. They received an alert that a Kia SUV wanted in connection with an armed robbery was in Milwaukee, was in the area. So all the way from Milwaukee, they were able to apprehend this person in West Ellis. So I did want to end on a better note because it's not always robberies. This was a missing endangered senior found in 15 minutes. So at 2:43, a Grafton crime analyst entered the missing town of Brooklyn senior's vehicle into the flock system. Inside had been in their city. So by 2:43, the vehicle passed by, set off an alarm, and the senior was returned within an hour of the plate being entered into flock. Because again, the vehicle triggered an alert, and they were able to reunite that gentleman with their family. So I just wanted to share that just to kind of paint a better picture as to some of the more applicable uses, but happy to answer any questions.
I've got a few questions, Jonathan. I think you said it, but how long have you been in business?
Since 2017.
And what is your retention rate?
Data retention rate is 30 days. And
No, your customer retention rate.
I don't have that particular number, but I'm happy to share if that's helpful.
Have you ever been hacked?
No,
You ever been sued?
I think that there is some pending issues around some permitting. So I can't speak to that.
And what company is your number one competition?
We have a few competitors. I think Axon may be one of them. But yeah, what I would like to say is that it's good to have competition. We happen to be the most cost effective. So we are literally the most affordable for municipalities like yours to be able to, use your taxpayers' dollars wisely and get the best return on investment.
But last question for you, what percentage of municipalities do the thing where they open up to neighboring municipalities? Their data.
I'm happy to get back to you on that. I don't know have a percentage, but it's very common for jurisdictions at least to, partner with the folks around you, right? There is that element of like, if you're flocking, like kind of like if you're working together, it creates a stronger regional network.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. I think I'm talking to the chief. Hudson has, I believe, 16 of these cameras. North Hudson, I think, has 6. Richmond. John, can you give a quick 1-minute thing of how it would help the police department, why you want it?
Yeah, I think that, we highlighted a lot of the main things that would assist us, like Brian asked, do we have that many stolen vehicles in town? No, but I believe we have a lot of, crime activity that's been coming through town that we just aren't necessarily able to catch. Block is a very good piece of technology. I think there are some legitimate, there are concerns, I think, that are important to discuss in public. And we're a transparent agency and we're happy to discuss those. I think, as for like data and privacy, people are traveling on the public road. We're not, the NCIC system came up. I want to talk on that a little bit because it's something we have access to. When we run your plate, it goes through that anyways. So it's not something that's special to Flock. It just kind of automates that. Talking to Joel today, we looked at maybe going down to one stationary camera versus having a mobile one too. We think that might be simpler for us. But yeah, I think our officers are excited about it. When we discussed it, it was one of the things that came up on their list of things they wish we had. Was Flock, just because, we believe there is some criminal activity or, criminals that are coming through town. And we're not able to catch them. And this is a technology piece that I think is priced reasonably. It's one of the better things out there to help us do our job and solve some of these crimes and assist, other agencies in solving these crimes as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And my input, I think we'll have 6 concerts or whatever, but just the summer, that's probably right around 100,000 people coming and going. And to me, it's kind of cheap insurance to be able to, if something does happen, somebody gets kidnapped or some kind of a serious thing, instead of just people being able to come and go, if they need to sort through this data of being able to look at certain plates, they'll at least have the opportunity to try to catch the person.
Where are we proposing this general will go?
That was my question.
Main Street Bridge was mentioned as a possibility.
Sorry,
Main Street Bridge.
right over the bridge?
That would be consistent with my conversation with Joel today, would be the Main Street Bridge is kind of the spot we're looking at right now. I don't think our agency wants to put in a secretive spot. That's not us, that's not who we are. I think that transparency is key, and if we decide on a different spot, we would certainly share where that spot is.
And these are all valid concerns that we have actually talked about between public safety, and I've discussed these with the chief, and he is developing a policy that's very strict, and I was impressed by Flock's policy as well, the retention policy and the privacy and the transparency policies. It's definitely things we should talk about and discuss, definitely.
If we move forward, with it, I mean, I'm not seeking board approval of the policies, but I'd like to be, in the loop of what the policies are, so we can address concerns of the
Should
system.
we not
I'm
have
not
those
seeing-
policies in place before we buy the system?
That's something I'm just saying, like to see what the policy is. It's the police chief's prerogative in this area, but I would feel comfortable liking to know what the policy is. So we can answer.
Somebody like to make motion so we can,
One query, Jonathan, what's the turnaround time on something from time of authorizing a purchase to, receiving the equipment?
So typically, it could be up to 2 months in time. So it's my humble suggestion that you would have time to put together a policy and run through it by the time we actually fully implemented. It has more to do with like logistics, but happy to get you a better timeline. I just need to check in with our customer success team to make sure I have a better deadline for you. But I think you would have time to get a policy in place before anything is implemented.
Well, this was vetted by public
Public
safety
safety.
and recommended by public safety. I agree with the policies and being able to see them. I'm willing to make a motion to recommend the authorization of the purchase of what was recommended by public safety. Purchasing the 2 flock cameras. And if you
John's the
choose,
only one. Sorry, I think you only want one.
I mean, it's my motion, no, sir. Okay, so, and if the department determines that they only need one, then they don't have to purchase the other one. But as of right now, what's in front of us was a purchase of 2 of them, and it was recommended by committee, and that's my motion.
first, is there a second?
I'll second.
First and a second, any further discussion? All in favor?
I
Opposed, same sign.
Nay,
One nay, okay, motion carries. Uh, Finance personnel, E1. Discussion possible approval, building inspector fee schedule. And this, see, the motion came from the finance committee to recommend the Western Wisconsin Inspection Agency rates, and then to seek counsel from the village attorney if the fee schedule can be separated from the ordinance.
It's under, Mr. Chairman, under finance, there is a resolution that's put forth in the finance portion of that, reflecting the current ordinance and, I stand corrected, reflecting, yes, the current ordinance and the changes. The question I guess I have of the attorney is, if we could, rather than having it in the ordinance A 657 has all the building permit fees. So anytime there's a change, there's an additional cost to that. Is there other municipalities have it in a resolution form, which is in the back there. As a second part of that, which is basically stating that can we have that as a resolution and change the ordinance to reflect
You can adopt the fee schedule to include building permit fees and related costs along with all your other fees.
You have a fee schedule now for certain things. I mean,
and you would just change it by ordinance or by resolution, I'm sorry, right?
And typically, that's what's done, and that's why it's simpler to change. And you would just, you'll have to modify your ordinance to remove it from there and include it in the fee schedule.
So that was what was recommended by finance, was to change the ordinance to reflect a fee schedule and then adopt a fee schedule. And the fee schedule is what was in question here with the information provided. It was recommended that Western Wisconsin fee schedule would be adopted. It has nothing to do with Western, with who the building inspector is. It's a fee schedule that we're talking about to adopt.
Can I ask who you, talked to about my extreme high prices?
Now is public comment is closed for now.
No, it's not very transparent, Mike.
Can I
ask transparent?
Yes,
Who?
I didn't hear the question.
Who was consulted at what company?
Who was consulted?
The thing is, whether I have this custom person. And actually, Tony provided this information. And he, I don't have it, but he had highlighted the differences.
Mhm.
And when we went through, this West Wisconsin inspection agency is quite a bit less expensive. Google reviews look good. There's another municipality that has rave reviews for this, Ben, I believe. So just looking at black and white numbers, they definitely came to the top.
I'd like to know who complained about me, though. That's why it's here.
It's not a matter, your
It's not
work is
about
good. We don't have a problem with that. We're just trying to save mones. Really, we're.
So,
we're
I
comparison
did,
shopping.
I did get letters from the contractors that, work in the village.
Okay,
Is it costing the village money for the contractors?
the residents.
the landowners,
Residents?
Mhm.
yeah.
It is.
Every
Anybody
resident
that
that buys
buys
a permit is gonna have an additional cost to them.
30 years this company's been working for this community. 30.
And that loyalty.
And you know what?
Absolutely.
No, I don't know what.
Well,
Can't talk,
That's-
we can't ask no questions.
Right, you're right.
Yep. It's transparent. That's what this board got in here for, right?
John, please.
Please what, Mike?
It's not a free-for-all. You're not just able to talk or will be asked to leave.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That's why I wanna know who's complaining, because the contractor I talked to, they don't have an issue with my fees or what we do for the village.
Right.
Remind me again, it's under contract, correct? For how long?
I don't think he's,
Well, I guess that was a question I had, and is there a signed agreement?
Yeah, we signed it, we voted on it.
So-
I think the contract though.
My understanding in talking with Andrea is that past practice, there's not been a separate agreement signed. It's when the fee schedule is adopted or the appointment takes place, or there's not been like a separate contract that's been signed in past practice.
Didn't show this.
So we have the signed fee schedule from January. And then with the name change that happened in December. So. That's what we have.
And we're not saying no to you, Tony. We're not saying that. We're just saying the prices came in really high and we have to act on behalf of.
But who's complaining?
The people that would be taking out a building permit, whether they're redoing their house or doing a kitchen or doing their deck, or new people coming in, you're noticeably higher than everybody else. And it will probably curb building in this area. That's what this is all about. We have to be a voice for the people that live here now and the people coming in.
We're making
I'm
sure
coming
people-
in from, you know, the first, other than what I previewed in the meeting last week, so forgive me if I misspoke or something there. You know, changing the ordinance to have a separate fee schedule, I think, great idea. I just. And obviously, you know, we want to minimize fees and taxes and costs to our residents, but I feel like I need more information to act on it, but that's where I'm at with it. I just don't have any what's other ones provided, and I only got my packet when I walked in the door tonight, so.
So what are we actually voting on? So he is approved and we need to say that we're gonna approve Wisconsin's fee schedule? That's what is the actual motion?
That's what the recommendation from the finance committee was.
If you look at that original,
How can we keep him and then say this is what so you're saying, we're gonna keep you, but this is what it's gonna be. This is what your rates are gonna be. So we're telling him what his rates are gonna be effectively.
Correct.
Trying to do through the fee schedule.
that's right,
Absolutely.
just what,
Yes.
if you would pull,
He's
this would a resident would
building
pay.
inspector. No, he
Right.
was appointed.
Yep,
And that's still. in
that was
place.
voted on, yep, and that was passed.
So if you wanna make that change, to another building inspector, that's a separate thing.
Got
To get,
On a $216, building,
I've seen the numbers.
$231
I've seen the numbers.
Increase.
Donnie, I've heard them. I'm not.
20%.
I don't want I'm not for the cheapest. I want the best. I want the best houses here. I've gone out with Tony. I've gone on inspections. No one else on this board has done that. No one else has gone on a walk along. I went on multiple houses. He helped us write 2 ordinances. The issues that he's here for are because grading wasn't done properly. You know what we did? We added an ordinance because Tony told us to. The second thing was the sod and seed. He told us to add that and helped us write it. So I'm not just looking for the cheapest guy. I want the guy who does the best work and works with the people who are already here. I want this to be a well-oiled machine, and $200.
So have you looked at the other?
I have, yeah, and the.
Western Wisconsin?
I've
I've looked
tried
at-
calling him multiple times. He didn't answer his phone.
Okay, and when it comes to like Western Wisconsin, All Croy came in front of this board a year ago.
Mhm.
And it was not welcomed because there was issues with All Croy.
Affidavits, yeah,
Well,
because they just take affidavits. I'm not gonna have someone come in here, who's just gonna sign a piece of paper who said they did what they said. I'm not just gonna trust people to do that. That's how we get deals like preferred properties up here.
Okay.
So we're not gonna allow that to happen.
So when you're
So
done.
we voted on this already, and it's been brought up again and again and again, and we already had settled on this, and it seems like you 3 just didn't get your way and you wanna just keep on voting on it.
Are you done?
Yeah, I am.
Mr. Chairman, you have the floor.
Yes.
So to respond to the question here, is it was brought up at that meeting about, his cost increases and everything else, and I was a big proponent of that. I was like, why are you raising these rates this way? Why are you gonna do that? So then I went back and I looked at all the other, different local, inspection
After we
agencies.
voted.
After it was voted on, because it was voted on that day.
Mhm.
And when you look at that and you say, okay, well, there's one that's $231, did you look at that one?
Mhm.
You know, I reached out to them and I've checked with the municipalities like Osceola and St. Croix, that they were actually in, and it was actually brought up, and this is why I did that, is that we were actually at a point where we said, well, they were comparable. That those rates, Tony's rates were comparable to the other inspection agencies. And so when that was raised, that's when I started checking into it. I found out they're not comparable. So now the issue is, they're not comparable. The issue is that it's a significant cost increase to the taxpayers, to residents that want to take out a building permit to grow this town. And I think as board members, we should be looking at that and looking at those other options as well, not just saying, well, we're getting a great value for the extra 20% we're paying. That's not what I'm about. So that's why I brought this forth, and it was talked about at the building, and I even said, if you want to come down on your rates, that's what our competition is all about, right? Competition is a good thing, keeps everybody competitive and keeps us in order. So it's like, oh, well, do you want to come down on some of these rates? We can talk about that. We were flatly told as a board, no. So we have to make a decision. Our decision is, and was recommended unanimous through the finance committee, that we would go with the one that's in the middle, not the one on the bottom, not the one that the board didn't like before, but this one. And that was Western Wisconsin, who was vetted by other municipalities locally around the area. He's in New Richmond, Paul deals with them. So that's where we're at to this day. And that's why it was recommended and brought forward to. So I would just as soon keep Tony and keep the rates where he's at. But if it won't work with that, we have to look at other options. I mean, we have to be responsible with the taxpayers' money. And that is taxpayers' money. Even though it's not going through this municipality that way, it's still going through this municipality. It's just going we're just basically a cashier that cashes the check and writes it to him.
You can ask him if he's done too.
So have you gotten a raise in the last 6 years, Don?
What's cost of living?
Somebody,
in the last
somebody wanna
6
make a
years?
motion so we can move on here?
Motion to table.
I'll second it.
First and a second to table, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign,
Nay.
motion carries. New business, discussion possible approval, street use permit and parade route for Peace Week days.
I guess I'm not understanding these maps.
I'll pull it up in color here.
Oh, that's much better. I couldn't.
What was the main concern you guys had on this?
Closing the street down so that nobody could get around it during the parade. The chief has serious concerns about the previous, I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking about what we talked about
Right.
here. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah, emergency services.
so it's
can't
not,
get through there.
it's nothing that's changed
No,
since
it
we
didn't.
were talking about the,
Going back to last year's,
No, you know.
they're gonna start on Oak Street, Mike.
Did you hear anything
Where's Oak Street?
new?
The orange right there.
Or have you been updated since?
Where's Oak Street?
The last,
So-
I got an email from Bart that
See, there's Willow
Oh,
Street.
Oak Street here.
Oak Street's right here.
was
So where they start?
They were
from
gonna
the school
start right
district saying they
there.
were fine using
So
the
the
parking lot.
reason behind this
Okay.
is
And that's
so people can
the last I heard of it, so.
can you say that again, Bob?
Yeah, so part of the problem was utilizing the school district's property. And their insurance doesn't include the school district, so if there's a problem or an accident or damage, it's gonna create a problem eventually, so
This is coming from Bart from the Lions Club,
this was from Joel and me.
from you and, okay.
Just to protect, the best interest in knowing that.
So who gets the insurance now, the Lions Club or the village for the parade?
Well, we're named on the insurance, but the school district wasn't. So if there was an accident,
So we just have to have them as a name insured?
that was the detour, and that's also kind of the problem is the detour goes behind the school. It's, if you're not from here, I'd be confused because you're going through a parking lot
Yeah, it's through school property, but the school didn't care about us using it, right?
and they were fine. It was, you're fine using the parking lot. It really didn't have anything to mention with is Barnum by chance?
I didn't see his name on there, no.
So I don't know where
I think
things,
the biggest question was who's liable, right? Basically, if something were to happen. I think
we're
that was the
forcing
biggest question.
traffic down into the school districts.
And by the way, it sounded to me like it was that the reason, main reason that they wanted to change the route a little bit is because it'll be easier for the people that wanting to make it through town, at that time. Cause right now, it's kind of a gridlock, they pretty much stop right at the school and you can't get around. You pretty much gotta turn back around and go back out, right? So now what they wanted to do is start at Oak Street. So that way they can still go, down Depot and,
Oh, they can use that back.
Butcher Street, I mean,
Butcher and Depot. You can get around it that way and you can obviously go around, you can basically get around town
And you can
without blocking.
stage the parade at Oak Street there, in Acorn. everybody
That
can
whole
stage
thing,
there.
yep.
Yep,
The orange is.
Yeah, the
stage.
orange, it would be
Okay.
where you stage.
Yellow is the route.
No, they're coming out of Oak and then going out to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that looks really good to me to be able to use Depot and
Kind of,
River Road and
Where did
everything.
they
and
end
you
at? Up at,
don't- Not really shutting traffic down at all, just
this one,
Rerouting
it's right at that red line,
that's where they end and then they just carry on.
disperse, just
Yeah.
kind of.
Yeah, they could-
normal traffic at that point.
Yeah,
They
they could
could
go
left back to where they wanted to, or
Yeah.
they could go whichever direction they
They
want.
would turn left back on the depot and just kind of.
That looks good to me.
Speed up.
I thought, I didn't know.
Then, you're good with it, Joel's good with it, Bart's good with it, Dave Brock's good with it?
I don't, I don't know if Bart and Dave are good with it. I don't know if there was an agreement on that version, cause I think that came from Joel. Like, how about this?
So
And
we,
there's-
worst comes to worst, we approve it tonight, we still have next month meeting to make any changes.
Like it.
Somebody make a motion?
I will, so move.
There's first, there's a second,
Who seconded,
Steve Carter
sorry?
with the first, Caleb with the second, further discussion? You're not all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Again, with the understanding that if there's lines, put out an objection, they could.
Yeah, we'll-
they could
We have time
forward
to
another-
change it.
Yeah.
Discussion possible approval Aspen Drive drainage plan and timeline. Bob, can you speak to this, please?
Yeah, so Aspen Drive and the last edition of River Hills. So there was a grading plan that was approved that essentially would have functioned well to shed, gravity shed, stormwater, stone mill, what have you. The problem that happened was some of the builders didn't follow the grading plan as they were supposed to. So we went back to preferred to say, we've got issues. And they kind of threw it back to me saying, well, that's your issue. And I said, oh, no, it was your engineer that designed this. You allowed the builders to come in here and build. And you should have followed the grading plan and you didn't. So now we have 3 or 4 houses with lakefront property for after rain events and snow events. And, you know, they can't use their backyard. So when they purchased this, you know, there wasn't any expectation that, oh, I'm gonna have a flooded yard and, yeah, Tasia.
Is that current?
Yes, yep,
Yesterday.
It's
yep. I mean,
today
this,
or yesterday?
well, this
Today's-
isn't today, but Marcus has some from today.
It's definitely a full lake today then.
Yes. And you can see it coming from the north. It's a whole.
Hmm.
So it's more than 3 houses. It's almost all the way up the road.
Bob, what's it gonna take to get that done?
Soon.
We do have a redesign and it includes a catch basin, to capture that water. And then there's some additional grading that would have to occur to force some of the water to go in the front, not just in the rear.
We have that in retainage on the line of credit?
We do have the contractor's cost to do that work. And we just couldn't ever get preferred to actually get out there to do the work. It was always, we'll be out there 2 weeks, we'll be out there in 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turned into a year and a half. So,
We have their money to do it, else,
Can we
now
do
it's spring, can we do it like yesterday?
yeah, and, you know, this is where Paul,
You have permission from the current lot owners to tear up their yards?
yeah, we do have,
If you fix it when you're done.
yes, we do have utility easements, between each house too.
Are we able to get it done in the next,
on the private.
Well,
are we able to get it done in the next month with our contractor?
it won't take much, it's just the schedule on the contractor.
Oh,
Make a
it's
motion.
already out there.
I'll make a
Is that what
motion
you're
that we, utilize line of credit to get this done no later than May 21st.
Frank Brown second.
First and second, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Sorry for that. I hope it
Yes.
gets rectified for you guys.
So one thing on that is we have put in preventative measures now, so we do require a graded plan now and all that and such, so that won't happen to anyone in the future, but I know that doesn't console you much, but it did affect change.
We actually do have another one on in the meadows too, but, that's for another conversation in a later date.
Marcus, will you guys keep us updated too?
Yeah.
So it's not the board member, you know,
Yes.
email would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
His neighbor's my son and he couldn't make it, so. Are you guys gonna replace the sod once they tear it up and stuff then too? You know, cause he put in sod and Eric put in sod.
The quote included restoration,
Okay,
so if it's sod, that's perfect, we have enough
okay.
in funds to do that.
He's still gonna have to take care of the stuff in the front, though, tell him.
And the goal is to get it done now, not in the middle of summer when nothing's growing, so.
I'm not laying any more sod, so.
Right. Discussion possible approval, use of village owned property for the Somerset Champions Council.
So they had asked me to use this lot. I said, this is gonna go, you know, you get permission from the village board. I think they reached out to Caleb for the annual community cleanup day to gather there and have one.
We're using it as an initial meeting point to hand out assignments of where to go and then, kind of a group lunch at the conclusion of the event.
Brandon Crowe make a motion to approve the use of village-owned property for the Somerset Champions Council.
I'll second.
First and a second for the discussion.
Yeah, a little bit. On that, you guys have, we had insurance before for that. Do you guys carry that all the time or is that for per event?
The champions do not have an insurance.
I thought you guys had an insurance when you asked for a lot use before.
The chamber,
Was that the chamber that did that?
yeah.
They just be covered under the village's insurance, correct?
Oh, that's fine. I thought the two was
We
together.
have the exemptions for the village in the first place. So there's a lot of exposure there. They're providing a vacant lot.
Oh, I,
There's no reason we need to require for insurance, correct?
And then they're going into village areas
Yeah.
that for cleanup, so.
And typically what I see is, you know, when people come out to volunteer for these sorts of things, they sign a waiver. That says this is the activities I'm gonna participate in, and I understand what I'm gonna be doing, and I waive.
What if they don't sign a waiver?
we've done it in the past. I think, I don't think there was ever a waiver signed in the past, was there?
No.
Yeah, I
We have
never
a good
did
idea
last
for the
year.
future, but, you know, in this short time frame, not right now, but I think maybe in the future, a waiver, but that's.
Is that something you think would be a good idea for this one for them to put a little sign up waiver together?
Well, I
Your
mean, you know,
recommendation?
the waivers aren't 100%.
No.
I'll tell you that, but
They don't.
it's some of them. I don't know what your timeline is here.
It's
Saturday.
Saturday.
I didn't mean to open a can of worms on this one. I just asked a question about the insurance because I thought.
Is it a problem for the village insurance to cover that? I mean, they do, their work is for the community. I mean,
We would have to
Granted,
be
they're
there
not-
about something though, and know that we're being negligent on it. That's what Paul's trying to explain.
what was it?
We need to be grossly negligent on something, and, you know, that's what the exemption
If someone,
is.
you know, twists their ankle walking across the lawn, the village insurance.
Sure.
What if a tree falls on them?
It's the same thing for people playing ball up at
Yeah.
the ball fields, you know, if they twist their ankle or get hit by a pitch, like, they're not suing us. So,
Yeah.
it's the same.
That'd be a public vote.
So no need for a waiver? Good.
We can look at it.
Any-
in the future, but-
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion, possible approval of TAP grant proposal.
So the TAP grant, we're all aware, Ryan, perhaps we received a 1.3 million grant. Federal grant, with that comes federal grant, requirements. We have some potential right of way that we need to purchase. This is from right of way professionals. Chuck kind of looked this over for me. This is SEH that's doing the design on the trail. They recommended this group as well. Chuck knows of some in Minnesota, but not a lot of them in Wisconsin. So what it does is they go through a sales study, that's $6,500. They do an appraisal. And then they negotiate the acquisition of, whatever additional right of way is needed from the property owner or landowner. So on the backside, you see the total fee there is $32,230. That does not include payments to the property owners, though. That's just.
I thought it was $831 acquisitions of $830.
Yeah, $830 per parcel.
to
That's
prepare.
just a,
That's for them to negotiate it, or that's the payment to the?
no, that's the.
Oh.
So this is not property costs.
No, that's additional. Typically, this is handled like Churchill project that was handled by the DOT, so this one comes in our realm. DOT said, nope, you're doing it, so there it is. This is refundable through the grant.
And the other hiccup is that, you know, the state recently changed the law to exclude trails. from
Eminent, it's not eminent domain.
Yeah, we connected that.
So
So here's my question. What happens if somebody says, no, I'm not selling?
We have to do a design differently
then
than,
you.
and so
Path.
it could get as easy as, that we go to the DOT and say, well, the trail can't be 10. The property owner is not allowing us to purchase any property. And we shrink it down to make it fit.
So it might not be this 27,000 if we have to shrink it, right? I mean, this would be the maximum amount.
The 32, 238, yeah, and
Well, unless you have to reroute.
The 31 parcels.
Fair market value for the land.
Right.
yeah,
Unless you have to reroute it though, and there's more properties.
Yeah.
so.
So it could be higher.
Yeah, or less. If they get to the first one and they won't sell, well, they might go to the toughest one first, I guess.
I'm not seeing a lot of a lot of this runs through the industrial park. I've talked to a few property owners, they think it's great, so
Can they donate any land?
they
So
can.
like, say if it goes through SMC, would they have the option to donate that land?
Yes.
So I've seen right away acquisition costs in Wisconsin. $30,000 range, you know, and this is a case where somebody wanted to give the city the land. So, you know, I think that price there is reasonable.
So $800 is a walk in the park.
Well,
Sadly.
sadly,
So the hope is, Donnie, to reduce, through some conversations, is to reduce their effort, and that's what it says in this, the last paragraph on the front page. So, and,
Our motion should go up to
yeah,
32. 230.
I'll make a motion to approve White Away Professionals. The amount not to exceed $32,230 as presented.
Frank, one second.
Got a first from Ryan, a second from Brandon. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Discussion possible approval, Pine Vale Developers Agreement Addendum.
So last month, there was a presentation about the developer coming in and asking for some more incentive money because their contract numbers changed. And the board decided to not accept that entire amount, but agreed upon a slightly lower amount. So this is an amendment to the development agreement. The only thing that's changed is the figure was changed to what the board approved at last month's meeting. So, and that's the 1.5 forestry.
Thank you. Any questions or somebody want to make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the addendum as presented.
Donnie is the first. Is there a second? Caleb with the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
We'll have to get it signed and then we'll get it recorded.
Discussion possible approval, village website to town web and HayGov proposal.
So I had pulled this one off here off the consent agenda, and some of the conversations I had around this was basically I knew we were going to be getting an IT guy in-house. So I wanted to kind of run some of that by him and see if maybe that's something we could do in-house and build our own website, or if that is an option, or if it is full-fledged, we farm this thing out.
Well, I'll tell you, you're going to spend money on labor, or you're gonna spend money on an automated system that doesn't, that will, you know, decrease labor costs for management of it. content management systems are not cheap. This one is reasonable. The town of Somerset uses the site, a little bit of a presentation I saw. The technology looks, current state of the art. Obviously I can't speak to every feature or anything like that, but in general, it looked like a good idea. The only thing, just to highlight what Mike was going after in the meeting was, I'm saying the Haga bundle with all the automated licensing, forms for licensing and those kind of things. In my opinion, that's kind of a wash, because you kind of improve some efficiencies,
But you pay for it.
but at the same time, it is an improvement for, what residents, business owners, their ease of filling out these documents. So beyond that, I mean, I can't really comment any further. Do I think we need a new website? Yes. Is this the solution? Can't say 100%. But that's, from the little bit of time that I saw of it last week in the Zoom presentation, that's all I can really comment on, in my opinion.
I just wasn't sure if the Facebook syndication is worth that $300 a year, how often we would use that, or if it would be a really helpful tool.
Well, my understanding of Facebook syndication is essentially an automating of posting things. And I know, like the city of Hudson, they use Civic Plus. It's a much more costly system, but it's, it's website and agenda management as well. But it, when things are posted, it pushes it out to social media. So it's not one more step that has to be manually done. That's potential for human error.
One thing, as you guys are discussing, that came out of committee was you guys wanted us to look at that Haga bundle and the budgeting for it. And after talking with Andrea, that bundle she would not recommend us moving forward with it right now, but to budget for it in the next year's budget. She said it's possible that we could maybe pick one of the elements from there, but I guess I would just say I think the website itself is kind of what you should consider, and that Haga bundle can be tabled until next year's budget time.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So the recommendation from committee was the $2,500 setup fee, the $2,400 a year maintenance, the Facebook syndication of $300 a year, and the embedded live stream meeting video feed of $120 a year. And then this website would also do the push notification to anybody that signed up through email. They could get all the agendas and everything they wanted emailed directly to them, which our current website has not been able to do for us.
Is it a contract or a subscription or?
Annual subscription.
So it would be 3 years would be the contract.
Oh.
Our current contract with Revise expires in June of this year, and that was a 4-year contract. So the price below, you see the first year includes the setup fee, and then the subsequent years are just the maintenance of it. Yeah.
Unless you add to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Tisha, based on what we trialed earlier this week with the Zoom meetings, would we need that embedded live stream option, since it could go right to YouTube now?
So it's a matter of what we want. This embedded live stream would be if this meeting is going on and it's being live streamed on YouTube, then if someone goes to the Village of Somerset website, during our meeting, the little window of the meeting pops up right there. So they wouldn't have to necessarily go to YouTube to find it or whatever. So that's what that live stream feature is so that it would be embedded on our website.
But they get, so if someone subscribes to the YouTube page, they
Correct.
get a message every time we go live.
Correct, yeah.
It would also archive old videos too, so there'd be different,
Like on YouTube.
right, but through, on the village website itself.
So I think they attach them to the website right now.
So we're still using Zoom as well, or can you use this then?
So it would still be Zoom. Yep, the Zoom would be live streamed to YouTube as the meeting was happening, rather than it being a recording that's uploaded later, be live streamed to YouTube. Then this embedment feature would allow it to pop right up on our website while the meeting's occurring. It would also pop up on YouTube if someone went there, but it would be right on our village website then.
Makes it easier for the user.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but that Facebook syndication and all that, is that all part of that 3-year contract, or is that an annual subscription so you could try it and get off of it? Because for some reason I thought there was an annual portion to that, right?
Yeah, so what they have included in that, 2415 below is the hosting maintenance. And then it's the $15 a year for the domain name
Right.
management.
So-
So that's all that's included. So we would have to add that in.
So the
Yeah,
annual,
420.
so yeah, 420 additional, but that's on an annual basis, right?
Yeah.
That's not part of the contract.
Well, I would have to check if it would be part of that 3-year contract, if we'd have to, are you wondering if we'd have to do it for 3 years?
Yeah, right,
I would have to find out, I'm not sure.
okay.
If we could do that on a yearly basis, or if it would have to be
That's
part of
what I
it.
was thinking that it was an annual portion of that. but-
Did, hey, Gov, what's, the
Town web.
Town Web give a time frame on what, you know, their initial setup fee and training and conversion?
Yep, so they said that 2 months, because we'd be going with a template and not that, not a custom design. And they basically said 2 months unless me slows down the communication process with them. Which I would not do because I would really appreciate a better website, so.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the change to town web for our website with the setup fee of $2,500. And the hosting and maintenance fee of $2,400 per year. The Facebook syndication of $300 per year, and the embedded live stream meeting video feed of $120.
I will second that, Mike.
Can you add, just for the clarity, that
The domain
the
management.
domain management, because that has to be part of it, the $15.
And the $15 a year domain name management. First and a second, further discussion.
Yeah, my only comment is it sounds like we're gonna be paying $420 a year for something we already have for free through YouTube. So I would support everything up and until that.
There's already a motion, first and a second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Hey,
Motion carries. Discussion possible approval.
Just what for the status updates, I don't want to say anything in the meetings, but maybe in a, you know, bi-weekly email or something like that every other week, just kind of where the progress is going with the process. Does that seem feasible?
Sure.
Discussion possible approval appointments. Didn't have a whole lot of time to prepare for this, but Ryan Seacard stepping in for the Josh Heck seat. I'd like to appoint him to public safety and the board of review. Chris Dubach to the planning commission. Emergency government. Donnie Kern. And the weed commission, if we could, table that until next month.
Bike and pedestrian trails. Are you gonna be doing anything with that, or you want to table it till next month?
Let's table everything else till next month. Right, till that time to talk to people about if they want to get on the board.
With what you just said, Mike, with the library board, be part of what will be approved tonight. Since they
Yeah,
pick
the
their
library
appointments.
board picks their own boards.
So all,
We confirm them.
Make a motion to, oh,
do we do each one separate or confirm all at once or?
I was gonna make a motion to confirm them all at once for a little, for timing. You guys got any concern with that?
So we're gonna go back over the ones that are highlighted though, in future meetings, so.
Yeah, table it till next month. I'll have time to reach out to people for the other ones. So for right now, it's Ryan Seacard to the Public Safety Committee, the Board of Review, Chris Dubak to the Planning Commission, Donnie Curran to Emergency Government. And then we'll table the rest till the next meeting and approve the library board as they presented.
I'll move to approve the appointments as presented and the others tabled until next month.
For a second,
Second.
further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. Discussion possible approval of summer office hours. You can speak to this one.
I can.
Thank you.
So this came up in a discussion as we were talking about the July 5th date with the holiday being on Thursday, July 4th. Talking about requesting that the office be closed on the 5th. And then as staff were talking, we were discussing when we're, you know, the busiest, when we're not, and I don't have hard data, but anecdotally, between the hours of 8 and 9, people are trying to get a hold of us. And the hours of, hold on,
Yeah, go ahead.
between 4 and 4:30 are historically quiet. And then Fridays, are regularly quiet as well, whether it's summer or not. So we wanted to just propose to the board to see what your thoughts were, about trying out these office hours during the summer. To better suit the needs of the residents.
And by summer, you mean what, June 1st, August 30th is
Yeah, that's what I put in there.
okay.
Makes it a little easier on you guys too.
I mean, there's a benefit to it, of course. You know, we would still be working our required hours, but.
Nice to have your Friday off, get out a little early if you can.
Yep.
A little bit.
Or be here with the office closed to have uninterrupted project
So it
time,
doesn't mean someone won't be here for an emergency on a Friday, it just.
not necessarily correct.
But,
Yep,
Avery just did this and they really like it.
and the
Right.
town, yeah, the town does it and kind of looking at other municipalities.
The
It's
school
fairly
district
common.
does the same.
Brent Crowe make a motion to approve the summer office hours.
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion? All in favor?
I-
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
On the appointments, they did submit to us 2 names according to the memo for our confirmation. Did we,
Yeah, we added them as presented.
okay.
Yep, they were on the
That was
list.
Included, I didn't hear it, so thank you.
Discussion for the ISG or Eller's presentation on the building follow-up. We can table that till next month, but as a general thing, I asked, Josh Lowe from Ellers if it's something that we could afford in 2029 or 2030, and he was gonna run some numbers and see if that's something that he can look into for us.
Are we talking about all different 3 proposals, or are we eliminating that, the one that is not even in the realm of financial possibility of 19 million?
I'm not sure which one he's gonna come back with, but I think it was, doing the whole new campus for everybody together over in the new part, and then the new building and public works, kind of everything together.
Keep in mind, this doesn't include any, if the town was going in with us or Lakeview or EMS service, it doesn't include that financing at all. So
Right.
hopefully it's not out of the one
So it's
possibility.
tabled to next month for review, so.
Closed session convened into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin 19.85, during one parent C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, lieutenant's promotion, job description, and employment agreement. To roll call to go to into closed session, Donnie?
Donnie Kern, aye.
Motion in a second.
Oh, second. Donnie Kern, aye.
Chris Marino, aye. Caleb Garn, aye.
Chris Dubak, aye.
Mike Cappers, yes.
Aye.
When we convene into closed session. Coming out of closed session at 7:38 PM. And we're gonna have a motion.
Caleb Garn make a motion to, promote, Officer John Farrell to the position of lieutenant for the Somerset Police Department.
Chris Marino, second.
Caleb Garn with the first, Chris Marino with the second. Any further discussion?
Just, might want to note underlining the terms of the agreement that has been provided to us.
Per the terms that have been provided.
Close enough. You got that?
Got it.
All right. Let's do a roll call. Donnie?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Caleb?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Myself, yes.
Brandon, aye.
Nancy Carter?
Congratulations.
Unanimous. Lieutenant Farrell, congratulations.
Afterwards, is that what you done?
Well deserved. Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work, John.
Is there a final motion?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We got a first and a second. Chris with the first, Caleb with the second. Any further discussion? Hear none, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, we are adjourned at 7:39 PM.
Thanks, John.
Stay safe, Lieutenant.
Yeah, thanks.